Shall we begin? Let's get started.
Hey, Mom, can I have $20?
I gave you $20 yesterday.
Futures Academy in Victoria is a different kind of school. We use the individually designed educational achievement plan to build a program for your child based on their needs, strengths, and struggles. If your child has had trouble in public school, perhaps developed anxiety or fallen behind in grade levels and achievement, give us a call. Our number is 361-433-0322. You can also check us out on the web at futuresacademyvic.com. I look forward to hearing from you.
And, eventually you'll get to the point where, they'll just, oh, yes, this is my wife, this is my honey, this is my dear. And then they worship the ground that you walk on, especially after you have kids with them.
Right.
Once you have kids, it's all uphill from there. Like, you start getting your feet rubbed. And, the moment you get pregnant, really, well, it's about 3 months after when they start seeing the bump.
When you start seeming pregnant.
Yes, when you start seeming pregnant and, throwing up and which I threw up the entire pregnancy.
Oh, no.
Literally, I was being cut open to get him out, and I was throwing up next to
Oh,
me.
my gosh.
Yes.
I was fortunate not to have that, but that conversation leads right into what we're talking about today, how how being a mom is just not what you think.
It really
isn't. So let me tell you, listeners, this is a special treat for me. So today I have Rae Hroch with me, and is it fair to say you're just a person? Like, you're not a celebrity or anything
Absolutely
like that?
not.
You're just somebody I know.
I'm just somebody that's here for the party. I'm just trying to survive.
As are we all. So Rae and I met, I think, once a couple of years ago. I think you were up here at the school when we were brand new, so that's actually been a while. But you were a friend of Cheyenne's and several people in her circle, and you and I have never actually met. We've talked a lot online, but we haven't actually met. So you're a new mom.
Yes.
Tell us about being a new mom.
Oh my gosh, where do I start? Well, sleepless nights, check. Bottle feedings at all times. As soon as I hear a cry, I'm like, oh crap, I gotta make a bottle. And I remember when I was pregnant still, I was looking up everything. I was like, oh, I'm gonna do this with my kid, and we're gonna work on high contrast this at this age, and the whole 9 yards. I wanted to be a celebrity mom status. I wanted to do everything
of
right.
course,
that's what you think is
we
right.
all envision that.
Well, that sterilizer for the bottle got used twice. Haven't used it since. I throw them in the dishwasher when I have a
pretty
chance.
close.
That's as close as we'll get, but that's once a week. I'm not even gonna lie. I rinse them out. I'll wash them by hand, but as far as the sterilizer goes, I thought I was going to use that every single bottle, and my kid's never going to eat anything bad, and we're going to make our own baby foods. I bought the processor.
Right? Have you used it at all?
Twice.
I think
that's what we're noticing.
Is it just more trouble than it's worth? Yeah, you're giving things two shots and you're done.
It's way too big. I should have bought a bullet. I should have bought the bullet because you can make them in small batches, and I was like, I can make this all ahead and pour it in. I don't have time for that. I've got 15 minutes of time for myself, and then 15 minutes of, hoping that he doesn't wake up, and let me get his food together real quick because he's going to be hungry when he wakes up.
Yeah.
And it's just constantly running in circles, but it's the best freaking circle I've ever been in.
And that's the bottom line right there, is that there is no place else I would rather be, no matter how crazy, how hard, how stressed, how sleep deprived, how sore, or anything else that I am. There's nothing I would rather be doing. I don't know that you can understand that until you are a parent.
You can't.
But it's something almost universally that parents understand.
Yes.
So let's go back. You were saying when we were talking in the beginning that you got the back rubs and the foot rubs and all the attention and everything when you're pregnant.
Yes.
So I envisioned all those wonderful things, and I had it some. My husband didn't mind rubbing feet. But I was probably carrying in my own groceries because he was gone. So was that part what you felt? Did you feel this whole Mother Earth thing as you're growing a human?
Very much into the Mother Earth thing. You know, like I had it was a mother's blessing instead of a baby or like a
Oh, that's cool.
What is it? The
Instead of an actual shower.
The shower,
Mhm.
yeah, because I didn't want gifts. I just wanted people to come and to bless the baby and really just be there and like have their warmth around the love. And everybody placed their hands on my belly. We made a cast of my belly actually, and everybody signed it with little things to the put-ups that I would see during pregnancy or during birth actually. And I just saw him, and we made a banner that I was supposed to hang up in my birthing room.
Priorities.
I didn't put it up. I'm sorry, but it's in the nursery now.
It is getting used. It's just not as you intended. I think that is beautiful. We tend to think of the baby shower as for the mom. We really ought to call it a mother shower because it's gifts and things for the baby, but you're showering that love on the mother.
Doesn't know.
No,
they just want to know if there's a bottle in their mouth or
right. Am I fed? Yes,
Yep.
very much. But I love the idea of the blessing. That's really nice, and to have all of your friends and the village that raises the child.
Yes,
to
and
be there from the beginning.
They're very much a part of his life.
Yeah.
You know, they are very hands-on. Everybody that was there is still in his life today, and a couple months later, he's 7 months now. So it goes by so fast. But having the warmth of your family and friends with you during that time, like, it really helped. Like, I needed them so much because I was crazy.
I've heard that about you.
When I say crazy, I'm sure you heard all the stories. I was crazy during pregnancy. All of that testosterone that he was pumping into me. That and being off my crazy meds.
Oh, yeah, that'll do.
I had to wean myself off of those before I got pregnant. And then as soon as I got pregnant, I stopped taking them cold turkey.
Yeah.
And so, hello, bipolar. And it was...
When you're hormonal anyway, add the normal pregnancy craziness on top of that.
Yes, exactly. There was no stopping me. I was insane. I was wild. I don't know how my husband put up with me. I don't know why he's still with me, but I bless him, okay?
Love does that to people. Babies do that to people.
Yes.
So did you have a birth plan?
Yes.
That wasn't a big thing when I was pregnant. Like,
Really?
they wanted you to have it, but the doctor was going to say, that's cute. We do it my way.
Yeah, we're going to do it anyway.
So did you have a birth plan?
I did. And I got to do most of the things on my birth plan. I did tell them as soon as I walked in, I was like, give me the drugs.
Oh, yeah. I was a drug seeker, if we want to call it that. What else you got? You got anything else you can shoot in my back? Gimme.
And I tried so hard. I was in labor for about 19 and a half hours.
Goodness.
But that was the easiest 19 and a half hours compared to the pregnancy. I take the birth any day. But yeah, it was, I got the epidural. It was perfectly placed, no issues, and, pushed for a little bit. And then they told me that he was breech and that, his shoulders were not going to fit out. And I'm like, okay, cool. That's a visual that everybody wants to see. And so... Thank God my husband didn't.
I don't know that I've ever thought about it.
I'm so glad my husband was above the sheet and not below, because
the man should
it
see
would have
that.
just traumatized him. And that's what his brother said, was that don't go below the sheet, don't do it,
Don't
it'll
look.
scar you. And I'm like, yeah, he was good on him for telling my husband to.
That's funny. So you ended up with a C-section.
Yes, I ended up with a C-section, and John was my husband was the first one. Edit that. Was the first one to hold him, other than the doctor handing him, and
right.
So it was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful.
That's
we have
wonderful.
the whole thing on video too, because our anesthesiologist was videoing it for us. And
Oh, that's cool.
I look at those videos now, and I'm like, God, how did I make something so freaking perfect when I am so flawed myself?
When I'm such a mess.
Yes.
I know. I think we all do that. I don't know how you can look at a child and not see them as perfect.
Yes.
Like, even when they're screaming and even when they won't sleep and
You
things
miss
like
it
that.
when you don't have it.
Yeah.
When they finally sleep throughout the first night, you're like, oh my God, are they? You kept checking on them to
wake
make
up
sure
and
they're still
freak out.
breathing.
Yes.
And I'm so glad they have those owlets nowadays. I need to get one because I'm a paranoid mom.
Is that the little thing that you put on their ankle?
Yeah, it's a little sock.
Little
that goes
ankle.
on.
Yeah.
Little wrap thing, and it measures their heart rate and their respiratory rate.
Would you not obsess over that?
I would
because
be staring at it.
yes,
That's what I did with his little camera in his bedroom now.
Watch every minute.
I stare at him. I wake up in the morning and I look, and I wake up and look. I keep it right by my pillow. And
Yeah.
I'm so scared something's gonna happen or that he's just gonna stop breathing. Like, I look in the video for his rise and fall of his chest, and I'm just
And
I've
that's
been
so
doing that.
normal. I hope you know that every mom does it. Every one of us lean over the crib and go, he's so sweet.
Yes.
Wait, he's breathing, right? And you stand there and you watch and you wait and you touch and don't want to wake him up. But
That
if I
is
touch the
it.
foot and he moves. And yeah, I think we all do that. And well, because sadly things like SIDS is a real thing.
Yes.
But it's so rare that we should not obsess. Most babies do just fine, but I think that's something that they don't tell you very much before you're a mom, is that, you know, the joke of you're never going to sleep again or you're always going to sleep with one eye open, but that is
so
legit.
True. It's so true. Even when
Even
you don't
today.
want to, you know,
Yes.
even when you don't have to.
Right.
You still wake up just on clock, you know.
You do. Your body adjusts, and we are really perfectly made that way, that our body will switch into this mode of doing what has to be done and not putting yourself first. Because if you think about it, that goes against being an animal on the planet. You know, we
Yes.
fight for survival, and as moms, we don't. So it's not all peaches and cream. You have a lot of plans that don't always work, which is... I asked what you would like to talk about, and you said all the things that didn't happen, basically. You're like...
all the things I thought were going to happen
Yes.
and what really happened. Like, there's a whole list. Oh, my gosh. Like, I remember, let's see, bath time. Okay, let's go with bath time. You know how everybody was freaking out about putting the suction cup seats in the bathtub.
Yes.
You know, even though he's sitting up perfectly, I'm like, I don't know what to do. So I'm scrolling through Pinterest, you know, like, oh, some mom's got to have some answer here. And then I found this, it was a laundry basket. Just a laundry basket because it fills up, I don't know, 2 inches or so, you know, not enough to... You know, if you're watching them, so
Right.
I never ever leave them
Well, yeah, of course.
unattended. But you know, somebody said they turned around for like 2 minutes or something on the suction cup seats, and their baby drowned. And
slipped right out.
That's a whole new fear now. I'm like, I didn't even think.
Didn't
about
even
that.
know about that. Yeah.
And so I use the laundry basket now, and I put his little toys in there when I'm in the shower because we have a big walk-in shower. And so I shower, he showers, he plays with his
and
toys,
loves it.
and that's something I never thought I was going to do. I was like, oh, I'm not going to need that, but I'll save it anyways. you
Yeah.
know? And thank God I saved it. You know?
Right. And I found that too, that there was things that I thought this is not going to be useful. And it was. Boppies were brand new when I was a mom, and they were super expensive. And so I never had one, but I had a king size pillow that I would sort of wrap around me to hold to nurse and things like that. Were there a lot of things that you thought you would use and didn't, or didn't plan to use and that you did?
Yes. Okay, let's see. Buy one of every freaking bottle because you are going to need to try all of them at least once, maybe twice.
Every nipple, every shape,
All
every
different, flow different. Buy it all. Just do it all. Have all the moms just be, because it's so different with every child. Like my little brother, I remember he was on Phillips Avent and he wouldn't take anything else. My little sister, Nook, that's all she would take. And now my son, he only takes the Nano Baby ones, and I have to buy them in 3-packs.
Yeah.
Because I lose them. I don't even know where they go.
You know, there's a wormhole. Nobody tells you that either. That one sock and baby bottles and sippy cup lids go in. And
Yes.
how do those things ever get separated? I
Like
still
they
don't know.
all are supposed to go from his mouth to the floor, in my hands to the wash area. And I don't know where they go. I bought so many packs of bottles. I have 2 bottles. Not even kidding.
What do you think happens? Do you leave them on the shelf at Walmart when you're shopping, or?
I think people must be stealing them. My dogs might be stealing them, you know, hiding them.
Oh,
from
no,
me.
that could be. They're probably all under your couch.
They probably are. Actually, just found another one underneath my bed, which sounds gross, but it had like a little bit like crusted up milk and like it was on there. I'm like, throw trash. It's trash.
I'm not washing
now.
that.
We're not washing it. We're not even going to tackle that because this mom does not give a. So, trash. Trash where it goes. Yeah.
I felt like a failure probably when I did things like that. Oh my God, I'm a horrible mother. This has been behind the bed. I don't even remember this cup. But we all
Did he even
do
eat
it.
that night?
We all do it. So what was your plan for co-sleeping? And did you plan to breastfeed?
Okay, all right. Let's see. Co-sleeping. I was like, I'm never going to let my baby sleep with me. He's going to have his own crib. We bought this expensive crib that rocks him back to sleep. It notices when he's awake and yada yada.
Oh my
Does
goodness.
the sounds. Yeah, it's really nice. It's really now. But when I first got him home, he slept throughout the night.
Oh my goodness.
And I was like, oh, this is great, but only with us. He would only, he would cry every time I set him in the crib, and I was like, I can't handle it. I just need sleep. And so I grabbed him, put him in bed with us, right in between my husband and I, and he slept soundly for probably a month. That was the best month.
That is
I tell
crazy.
You. And then all of a sudden, sleep digression. And he started screaming for a bottle it was like 4 hours at a time, and then it went down to 2 hours, and then it went down to every hour. Oh yeah, every 3 days apparently that happens. Growth spurt.
Wow,
That's what I
it
was
does
told.
seem that way sometimes.
Every 3 days, and
Interesting.
so yeah, we definitely co-slept at the
Co-slept.
time. Co-slept.
So how were you able to get back out of your bed? Because I think that's where a lot of people get stuck. You have to bite the bullet, right?
You had to bite the bullet. You have to set them in there. And I had to just keep going to, check on him. And when he cried, I would wait for a minute or two, let him cry a little bit just to see if he'd go right back to sleep. Because a lot of times he'll cry for a minute and then just find his binky and put it right back in his mouth and go back to sleep. But I remember when he couldn't put it in his own mouth. And so I had to be the one to put the binky back in his mouth so he would go to sleep. And that was hard. But now he's very able to put bottles in his mouth, put passies and everything, and roll over on his own. And so he just we let him cry for, I don't know, it's like 30 minutes or so.
Really?
It was long.
Feels like
30 minutes.
torture.
I was crying. I was sitting in the living room just crying. I'm like, I can't do this, babe. I can't do this.
I know.
And he's like, it's okay. It's going to be fine. Just let him cry for a minute. It probably wasn't a whole 30 minutes, but it felt like
Feels like an eternity.
It felt forever.
Yes.
And he finally stopped crying. I went in there and checked on him. I was like tiptoeing up to the crib, and I see him, and he's passed out perfectly asleep, He's got snot on his face. Tears dripped on his eyelashes, and I'm just like, my angel.
Oh.
It hurt my heart, but since then, he knows, if we tell him to go to bed, especially my husband, when my husband tells him, go to bed, boy, and he lays down, and he'll cry for a minute or two, but then he ends up going to sleep.
Oh, man.
So.
You are fortunate with that. And I know that it was intentional, and you said, this is how we want to do this. And I think sometimes that works. You say, I'm going to change this pattern, or we're going to do it this way, and it works. But there's also an awful lot of times when it doesn't.
Yes.
So, I'm absolutely going to use this formula, or I'm absolutely going to pump, or I'm absolutely not going to. So what are some of those that were your hard lines that you promptly scratched when real life hit?
My hard line, I told myself that I was going to breastfeed until about a year. I was like, if I can make it longer, I'll try. Silly freaking me, okay? I think I pumped and breastfed for not even 2 months. And then I was trying to figure out some things with the hormones and all that good stuff. So my doctor put me on a hormonal birth control, which I told him not to do any hormones, but whatever, nonetheless. I had a reaction to it and had a uterus infection and had to stop.
Oh, my word.
I had to stop breastfeeding. And so life happens.
That's right.
And so the uterus infection, they gave me an antibiotic and stuff, so I wasn't allowed to breastfeed. All the stuff, wasn't allowed to pump. Well, I still pump, but I had to dump it.
Yeah,
and
pump and dump.
Well, I guess. And
Man,
then
you got to have commitment to do the pump and dump.
Yes.
Because that is work.
That's gold. That is gold. Use it for your bath. I used it for a lot of baths for him.
Yeah.
But, they told me that I couldn't breastfeed for 8 weeks. And I was like, okay, so I don't have enough saved for that. That's for
right.
I think I had 5 little pouches saved up of breast milk. Trying to keep up with it was insane for me. Mentally, it was draining. Physically, it was draining. When I didn't have him on my boob, I had the breast pump, or the breast pump and him, one on each one. And it was very trying. I don't know how women breastfeed for so long.
I don't either.
I commend them for that. Hats off to them, because I can't do it. I don't know how women did it. I probably could have figured it out over time, but struggling, but I mean, it's crazy what women can do for their
You really do almost have to commit a part of your life to it. And not just to be available, but to say, a good 15 hours of my day is going to be spent with my boob in somebody's mouth.
Yes.
And to be willing to do it and drop everything. And so you've got to be able to be okay with not cooking
Socially,
supper
too.
and not having all the laundry done and doing it in public or adjusting if you're not comfortable doing it in public.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into that.
Absolutely.
It's also hard sometimes. Not every woman just takes to it right away or gets the bonding or that kind of thing. I know Cheyenne nursed forever, and I admire that.
Yeah.
But I also admire being able to say, okay, that's enough.
Yeah.
I want my body back,
Yeah.
for one thing, which you'll never have, but
Which you don't even
to
have to
some
have
degree.
a reason why not to.
That's
really.
true. It's just not
I
for
feel like
me.
some moms are always looking for a reason. Oh, well, we're just going to stop at 1. And, we'll just stop at this time. Because they feel guilty about taking away. Because there's a bond there.
There it is.
And I felt so guilty
And
taking
you grieve it.
It's
There
like,
is a
that was
grief.
what we did together. And only us have done together. And that's never been, especially as my first child, everybody's first child, it has a special place in your heart. You're like, oh, all the firsts, every first is really a first with you
a first.
Even though, your subsequent children have firsts as well, but it's like, it's your first too.
Yes.
So it's a beautiful thing. And I think that if you can breastfeed, do it. If you don't want to breastfeed, don't, because I switched to the bottle. We switched to formula. He did better on the formula than my breast milk.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And some do, especially if you have a big eater.
Yeah. Well, the supply wasn't an issue. It was his stomach had issues, like whatever I was eating, because whatever you put in your body, they get in your breast milk. So something I was eating was not agreeing with his stomach. So, we switched to the dairy-free, goat's milk formula, yada, yada. We switched twice, and no issues since then. Like, not a single issue. He even stopped having, like, crazy burps. He would get so much like, acid reflux in his chest and stuff. No issues. Not a single one. And now he's trying new food. I'm like, oh, my baby's growing up.
How are you at keeping the records? Do you keep the baby book? Do you have all the pictures? Do you know when the first things happened?
I try. I'm really bad about that. I'm not mom of the year when it comes to that. Like, I'm not going to be the one, like, my sister-in-law is so on top of all of her stuff. And I just see her as super mom. I'm like, man, I want to be like you when I grow up. Like, she has all the pictures together. She has her house in order. It's just gorgeous. Her house is just gorgeous.
Those people are unicorns. Don't let anybody tell you anything different.
And I'm like, she's wrestling 2 of them. And I'm like, how do you do it? Like, I'm over here just barely floating above water, Okay, don't take a huge breath or you're going to sink.
Yes. You adjust. And fortunately, we're very flexible in that way that you adapt to whatever's going on. So when your child has trouble, when they have gastric upset or when they're just fussy today or when there's an earache or something, you adjust and your whole personality just changes.
Absolutely.
So what kinds of things are you doing now that you didn't think you would be doing?
Oh, let's see. Oh, here's a big one. When you try to go into the gas station to grab your morning Red Bull, you have to bring the child in with you.
Yes.
That's a big change. Normally, I could just, run in. No thing. It was a 5-second ordeal. Well, now, we gotta get the baby out of the
300 buckles.
Gotta hold
and
him on the side of your hip, hoping that you don't fall over with your little Red Bull, sipping it while you're walking. You know? Like, it's a big adjustment bringing him everywhere. He is my sidekick now. You know? It's a whole different ordeal. Like, even when I don't have him with me, like, he'll be with my mother-in-law or something, and I'll say, "Oh, excuse us," and I'm like,
"It's no us.
I don't
It's
even
just me.
It's just me. Just kidding.
It's we all the time from now on. That's so funny.
I'm just so used to having him on me now. He's my person, you know? Like, I can't believe that I got the best freaking friend ever, Like, when he gets older, I'm not going to be able to be his friend. I'm going to have to take over mom position. But right now, I'm enjoying mommy and friend. So he's my comfort and I'm his.
And it should be right now.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you, changed gears easily? So... now, in your case, like, you started out breastfeeding, but there was a reason you had to stop. That wasn't your choice. It was medical. So what advice would you give to the women who say, I'm not able to do my plan? I can't breastfeed like I wanted to. I have to go back to work, or I don't get to go back to work. Whatever the situation is, because I think so many of them feel like a failure. If the plan that I had doesn't pan out, I must have done something wrong. I must have screwed up. I hope my kid's going to be okay. What advice would you give for them? Because you seem very accepting of your changes.
Like we all go through that. Every single mom that I've ever talked to has gone through this exact thing where their plan was to do this, and I want to do this and this and this, and I want to breastfeed. I want to I even tried potty training before one, okay? Like, all the
that
things,
fad.
We're all going to try these things, that have worked for other moms, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. You just have to be really flexible. Momhood is all about being flexible. Whether it's getting down on the ground to try to wrestle your kid to get him to drink his milk and be like, go to sleep, or you're just trying to do something different with feeding. Like everybody said to give like the cereal at night, the baby cereal in their bottle. We tried it didn't work. Okay, next thing, let's try something else. Just be flexible to try new things. If one thing doesn't work,
try
something else is going to work eventually.
And obviously there's no one correct way. And we all know that, and yet still sometimes feel the need to hold ourselves to that standard, that we have to do it the way that we thought was very best. A mantra that I have taken on lately is that excellence is enough. You don't have to be perfect. None of us are perfect. And just go ahead and accept that from the get-go.
Absolutely.
And so that when the plans change and you have to settle for what is in your mind second best, excellence is still enough.
Yes.
I think that's a very important thing.
Yes.
I think if we told more moms that, do you have a support group? Do you have lots of moms around you?
I do. Well, it was crazy. Something was in the water because all of my friends pretty much got pregnant around the same
y'all
time.
did.
It's my friend Caitlin and her husband Clayton had twins, and they are beautiful. And they had them just after we had Arlo, maybe a couple months after, 2 or 3 months. And then same with my best friend Brittany and her son. And it's just, there's about 3 or 4 of us that all had kids around the same time. And
so you're all even at the same place kind of with your kids, or I just got out of that stage as you're coming into
expect
it.
This, but I hated when I was pregnant and everybody told me, that's what you're thinking now. Just wait till you have kids. And
Cheyenne hates that phrase too. Just wait. That
pissed me off more than anything. Like I would go home fuming. I'm like, they said it's not gonna work. And and my husband's just telling me, babe, it might, whatever you want to happen is gonna happen. Okay, babe, it's all good. I love you. Please just
stay with it.
You're fine. You're fine. And I commend him for doing that to me, because he would always be on my high horse. I'd be, I'm never gonna do that, and he's just like, yes, babe, yes, dear.
I'll
yes,
pat you on the head. You just keep on believing that if it makes you feel good.
And it really did make me mad when people told me that my ideas weren't gonna work.
Right.
But come to find out, it is different. Some things did work that I expected, and some things
some
really
did
did not. So.
Yeah. I think that's very true. And, it'll keep being true as they keep growing up and people tell you what to expect with your teenager and what to expect at all the... Toss that. Yeah. Everybody's got their own experiences of what happens.
Yes.
It irritated me when people told me how horrible their birth was before I'd had one. Oh my gosh,
yes.
tell me the good stories. I don't want to know about how you cracked your whole body in half and nearly bled to death.
Oh my gosh. And then the ultimate snip. Hearing about my friends' traumatizations, really got to me. I could not believe that my beautiful birth was... It scared me. It scared me a lot. So I was like, I'm not doing that. I'm never doing this. I'm getting this doctor. I'm doing this thing and not getting the epidural. And, I planned on not having an epidural.
Oh,
Oh, yeah. I was like, I'm going to do this at home. It's going to be natural. Oh, yeah. All the things. My hippie self, my happy hippie self was just all over this. I was like, we can have a balancing ball and the back roll ball and all the things. We'll get in water, and my husband's like, no.
We who? Because I'm not doing that.
It was like, and it was so funny because when I actually was in labor, I wanted to wait until I was closer to, till I went to the hospital because I knew they weren't going to let me eat. Okay.
Yes.
And I like food. So I was sitting in the bathtub and my husband didn't know what to do. My mom was there, thankfully. She had just showed up like 2 days before just to help me clean the house and get ready for my son to get there. And she's rubbing my hair, braiding my hair. She's like, it's okay, breathe. She's helping me through the breath. And then my husband in the next room vacuuming. Didn't know what to do. Just vacuuming
I just
away.
need to be busy.
It's like, I don't know what to do. So here we go, just vacuuming away. And then my mom was like, okay, I think it's about time. What do you think? And I'm like, yes!
An hour ago. Yeah.
And so we went there, and it was just, everything was so different, than I had expected. I was like, I didn't even think I was going to need to go to the hospital. I was like, oh, it's okay. We'll just do it at home. And my husband's like, we're not doing that.
I know.
What if something happens and you need to be in the hospital? Which was true in our case.
Yes.
I did need to go to the hospital and have him, surgically removed.
Yeah.
But makes him sound like a cyst or something.
Get that parasite out of there.
Parasite out of here, my little crotch goblin. Come on. Oh no, but he is just, it was perfect. Everything went how it should have been, and they say, that you're going to forget how bad your birth really was. I wrote that shit down.
I'm not going to forget.
So I remember everybody saying the pregnancy, you're going to forget about the worst parts of your pregnancy. My journal knows.
Oh,
okay?
my goodness.
I am not going to forget how bad it really was, which now, everybody's like, oh, are you thinking about having another? I'm like,
hold on, let me look at my journal.
okay, well, let me look. I think I could probably do it again.
I could probably do it again.
Yeah.
The idea of planning for a child is completely foreign to me. I love that people can do that sometimes.
Well, it took me 12 years. I was infertile, I was told, for 12 years. And then I switched my diet completely and my lifestyle. Everything I changed. And I ended up getting pregnant after one period. I hadn't had a period in 12 years.
Wow.
I had one period and immediately got pregnant. I was actually seeing a natural health doctor here in town, right over on John Stockbauer. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
you want to give a shout out to the doctor? Who did you see?
Dr. Labron Allen. Thank you so much for changing my life.
Yeah, so that's really good to know, and that's probably not something you anticipated either. So from the word go, it was not what you expected.
Yeah,
I think that's true for almost every mom out there.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Rae, and telling us your story. I've enjoyed getting to know you.
Thank you.
And I wish we had more time, because this is very interesting.
Yes. Well, thank you for having me on here.
All of you who are listening, if you're a young mom who is struggling, reach out to other moms, because we've all been through it. We all got ideas. We can all help, and sometimes it's just nice to have a shoulder and someone else to vent to. So thank you for joining us today. Don't forget to like and share our podcast wherever you find podcasts, and find us online at 20buckspod.com. Talk to you soon. Bye. Hey, small business owners, thanks for listening to our podcast. Can we have $20? That will get you a 30-second commercial on our podcast, along with a mention in our post and a link in our show notes. If you're interested, give Cheyenne a call at 361-550-2325. Thanks for listening.